Well, yes, I do like you. I think you're an excellent cat. And I'm glad Frank found you, Frank. And, I think we'll all be friends. Sonny, I can be friends with the other. I have more than enough love to go around. Sonny. Hey gang, Uncle Todd here, and as you can see, Sonny has miffed at me for paying attention to Frank. Frank's cat, Frank. And I guess I'll just have to do the show without her. Maybe she'll come around, I don't know. But we are actually here to talk about the Paul Naschy film Count Dracula's Great Love. Now, Naschy, a Spanish writer, actor, sometime director, he actually wrote under his actual name, Jacinto Molina, but he took the stage name of Paul Naschy, kind of like Boris Karloff, had a nice foreign sound to it. And this is his only, I believe, film in which he played Dracula, as well as I think the only film where he played a vampire. Most of the time he played a werewolf, Voldemort Dininsky, but he played a lot of other horror characters. He played a mummy, he played the devil, he's played ghosts, and I don't think he's ever played the Frankenstein monster, but he did play Mr. Hyde. And in this film, he is everybody's favorite king of the vampires, although Naschy, unlike Lugosi or Lee, is not exactly tall and svelte. He's built like what he is. Man of average height who's a power lifter. Man's ripped. I mean, if you've ever seen him back in his youth, he's huge. It's kind of like it's kind of like casting Hulk Hogan to be your vampire, because that's kind of how Naschy's built. But the flick opens with a couple of deliverymen delivering some boxes to a castle / former sanitarium. And being poor and greedy, they open up one of the boxes to see what's in there, see if there's anything worth stealing, and they don't find what they like.
The rich sometimes bury their dead loaded with jewels, as though they was gonna need them in hell.
Panicked, they decide to make a run for it. One gets attacked by presumably a vampire, and the other one, he doesn't fare quite as well. hope you liked that scene of the guy rolling down the stairs with the hatchet in his head, because you're going to see it play on a slow motion loop all through the credits. And we then head over to our main cast who are traveling by coach. There's Cinta, Karen, Elke, Marlene, and Emery, the only male in the group. They're traveling to, I can't remember what the name of the town was, but the city. And they're passing by the very same place that we just saw the two men get killed. And there Emery tells them the stories of the mad doctor that used to live there and used to experiment on the patients at the sanitarium, which just also happened to be set up in the castle that was once Vlad Dracula's. Small world. Unfortunately for them, a wheel goes off and they are stuck. They can't find the wheel. It rolled down the mountain, basically. And then the driver gets hit by the spooked horses and killed. Horses and killed. So they make their way up to the castle/sanitarium, where they are greeted by the lone occupant.
I'm sorry, but I have absolutely no means of transport at the moment.
Do you happen to know someplace where we could spend the night? It's so late.
You needn't worry about that. If you'll accept, you may be my guest for a few nights. Inside of a week or more, the man that brings my supplies will be here. You can go back with him.
A week, but...
Lucky for them. Or so it would seem. After a quick tour of some of the house and being shown to their rooms, some of the girls argue about whether Dr. Marlowe is attractive or not. Depends on the person, I guess. Well, Emery sneaks into Marlene's room where they, The next day, Dr. Marlowe is not around. Emery says he found a note that said he would be out checking his traps for the day. He's an avid hunter. Well, Marlene and Emery go off on a walk to talk about whether or not to announce being engaged when they finally get to the city. The other women, they explore the house and find the library with a very interesting book in it.
Now I'm certain that Dracula has returned. We weren't able to destroy Dracula in Burgo Pass. And his terrible power has manifested itself. Manifested itself once again? Oh, what's the matter? I'm sorry, but
Yes, it seems they've found Abraham Van Helsing's diary. It also lets them know that Dracula has a daughter and that he can't fully be killed. His spirit will remain until he can find a virgin willing to give herself to him, at which point he will be able to resurrect his daughter and then strike out across the world to spread his evilness. Well, this kind of frightens them. That night, Emery, on his way to Marlene's room again, the dog, runs into an unexpected resident in the castle. A little later, Marlene gets a visitor herself. While this is happening, Karen has an odd dream about someone visiting her and drinking her blood. But she wakes up and decides to go down to the library to get a book, where she runs into Wendell, who has a nice conversation with her. The next day, Emery and Marlene are nowhere to be found. Assuming they're off on another of their romantic walks, the three girls decide to go on a walk themselves, and Cinta, I'm horrible with names. Cinta steps into one of Wendell's traps and gets her ankle pretty badly mangled. They rush back, and when Wendell returns from his hunting, he bandages the wound. Then later that night, Cinta puts the moves on him. Nice symbolism there with the candle dropping. After their tryst, the pillow talk isn't quite what Cinta had hoped it would be.
Is it so important to you, darling, that I've been with other men?
We shouldn't have done this. Love is much more. For me, anyway.
He's one of those judgmental types. Oh, hi. Taz stopped by. Anyway, while that's been happening, Marlene went to see Elkie. She went to see Elkie and vampirized her. And Emery went to see Karen, who screamed. And Wendell came to the rescue. Looks like that powerlifting came in handy. Ow! Jeez, come on! Somebody's jealous. Come on. Anyway. Knocking everything over here. Anyway. Karen is very distraught, and Wendell has to take care of her. While this has been happening, Elkie and Marlene drag Cinta down into the catacombs and vampirize her. Karen finally recovers a few days later, and thanks to Wendell's kindness, she's started to develop feelings for him. Meanwhile, I'm getting eaten alive.
Because of all the things you've done for me.
You don't have to be grateful to me for that, Karen.
It's not gratefulness. It's something much more than that. Much more. I love you.
I'm the happiest man in the world.
Whoa, dude! Control your emotions there. You gotta wonder about the dubbing on some of these films. I'm the happiest man. Anyway, she gives herself to Wendell. And after a night of passion, she learns the horrifying truth.
Karen.
Yes. And a surprise to no one, except Karen, Linda is Count Dracula. And he's going to need her, as a virgin who's given herself to him freely, to raise his daughter. How he will do this? Well, first he uses a knife to extract some blood from Karen. He drinks some of it, and is saving the rest for the important ritual. Karen will give herself freely over to vampirism due to her love for Dracula. And this will allow his daughter to resurrect, and they will rule together. During the day, she's locked in a dungeon. The next night, Dracula and his 3 brides, I guess. You know, gotta stick with that Stoker trilogy there. They head out where we get the second most bizarre, inappropriate tone of dubbing.
My foot's caught. Help me. Help me. My foot's all tore up. Please, sir, help me. No. Ah!
Elmer Fudd? Kind of sounded like it. But more important things are happening. The 3 women break into a farmhouse and abduct the daughter, and when the father tries to stop them, well, he gets killed. And Dracula, he dog that he is, goes into some woman's room and bites her too. The next day, Karen is still locked in the dungeon, but that night she's brought out for the ceremony, which involves... This is where the film really starts to get wild. The woman abducted is stripped and whipped. Why? Well, apparently, for this ritual to work, a innocent woman must be punished for no reason. They then take Karen's blood and mix it with this woman's blood, and this is what will revive Dracula's daughter. The next night will be the crucial one, where Karen will give herself freely over to vampirism, which will then allow Dracula's daughter to awaken. Unfortunately, Cinta is not having Karen be the one. A little jealous, you know. So she attacks Karen, which causes Dracula to do what Dracula has to do. Yep. Staked one of his own vampires. This whole set of events has had an unexpected effect on Dracula. He realizes he loves Karen. He, with his 2 assistants, decides he must put his daughter somewhere where she will not be found. With that out of the way, Dracula gives his other 2 vampire women their pink slips and demonstrates just what a cruel boss he is. Yep, staked him out into the sun. Well, that night, he and Karen make love again. But because Dracula now can't bring himself to actually make Karen a vampire, after this last night of passion, he stakes himself. I'm sorry. It's very poignant.
Back, my love.
Yep. As the sun rises, he withers away. I love Naschy films. They are just so out there with crazy plot twists. Half the time, they don't even make a lot of sense. They don't even say that. Okay, the delivery man did get killed by Wendell when he attacked Karen. I just kind of skipped that scene. And but some of the other, like that woman in the room he snuck into, nobody didn't know what happened to her. Did he take care of her later? Don't know. And this whole thing of having to have a virgin who can give herself to him, that's typical Naschy, because in a Naschy film, every woman falls in love with him. Although not so much in this one, but as is typical, especially for something that is going to hit the drive-in market in America and other markets in other countries. Every woman in this film goes topless at some point. Usually during a vampire attack, but and the gore is a little over the top. Typical of Naschy. He likes to make him very violent and very sexy. And if the dubbing was better, this would probably be a more well-loved film, just by ordinary horror fans. But as is, it is a hoot with some of that dubbing. Here's the thing about Naschy. I think I've said this before. If you've ever seen any of his films in the actual Spanish, where he's dubbed in his own voice, all of his acting is vocally. He's always a very stoic presence. And all the passion and anger and all that comes totally from the voice. But the dubbing doesn't show that. And they always have him kind of monotone, because he looks so stone-faced, which is a pity. Because if you've seen any of his films in the actual Spanish, see, they're very good. But even as is, this is such a fun film with so many crazy things in it. The whole aspect of him being a human who then becomes Dracula if he can sleep with a virgin. I mean, what the heck is that? Besides an excuse for Naschy himself to have love scenes with several of the co-stars. But yeah, very, very fun film. Typical of Naschy, especially during the early 70s, where he pumped out a ton of films. I mean, this was the period where he did Assignment Terror, Fury of the Wolfman, Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman, Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf, the Devil, no, not the Devil, Evil Rises from the Tomb, Vengeance of the Zombies. I mean, those were all done in like a 2 to 3 year period. I mean, he just churned them out at that point. And those are probably some of his most beloved films by his fans. Yeah. Really not a lot to say about this. I do get a kick out of the fact that if in the scenes I show with the vampire women, the makeup ends right here. So their neck and their arms tan. Face dead white. At least Nashi was smart enough to be Dracula, so he's completely covered with cloak and tuxedo and all. Yeah. But a very fun film. And just that ending where he stakes himself, that is a first, I think, in cinema history for vampire films. Well, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And stay after the credits for my favorite scene. Bet you can't guess what it is.
For the first time, love brings a finish